Hello again, you're watching eNCA on DSTV channel 403 on this Friday afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. Now here on today, let's talk about this story concerning the former Social Development Minister Bathabile Dlamini. She'd applied for an acquittal on perjury charges, but it's been dismissed. Dlamini is accused of lying under oath at a constitutional court inquiry into the social grant saga. She denies ever lying and insists that if she did so unknowingly, and she's pleaded not guilty. During a previous court appearance, her lawyers told the court that the state failed to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt. But the magistrate now believes there is a case to answer to. Let's get the latest from our reporter Slindelo Masikane from the Johannesburg Magistrates Court. Slindelo, good afternoon. So, what happened today?
Well, what we saw today was the ruling on the application by the former Social Development Minister, on her application to have a discharge of her case. Her lawyers had made this application after the state had closed its case back in November. And what her lawyers were saying was that the state had really failed to prove that they had really strong enough evidence to get a finding against the former Social Development Minister. But the magistrate thought otherwise and is of the view that there is a case for Bathabile Dlamini to answer to. Let's take a listen.
May I rise, ma'am, at this point? Thus, having regard to the test to be applied, the applicable case law on point, and in exercising my discretion, I am of the view that there is evidence upon which the accused might reasonably be convicted. Therefore, the application for a discharge at this stage is refused.
So, Slindelo, what happens now? What's next?
So what we saw happening after the application was dismissed by Magistrate Khumalo was the continuation of the perjury trial. And because the state has closed its case, it was now down to the defense to call its witnesses to the stand. And their witness, their first and only witness today, Bradan, was the project's manager of the work streams that are in question. You would remember that this matter stems back to the SASA social grants saga around the work streams and that inquiry in which the former minister had said that these work streams didn't directly report to her. So this was the project leader of these work streams who was called by her defense, and we spent most of the afternoon with her evidence in chief and then a cross-examination by the state. This is where the state started to poke some holes into her testimony, pointing out a number of issues. And at some point, she actually ended up conceding to the fact that there were at least 2 meetings in which the former minister did have with these work streams in which they did directly report to her. Let's take a listen.
There's a difference between your evidence and her evidence. Is that correct? So, according to your knowledge, this cannot be true. Is that so, no? Not so, ma'am? Yes. Therefore, if you say this is not true, it means she lied there in that paragraph. Correct? Is it not so, ma'am? You have already said it's not true. So therefore, it means that it's a lie. Yes. So what is stated in that paragraph is a lie. Is that not so, ma'am?
What about any form of support that was visible in court for Bathabile Dlamini?
Well, we definitely saw some support for the former minister today at the Johannesburg Magistrates Court. Not only did the ANC Women's League come to support her, there were quite a few of them outside of the courthouse, but inside court we saw Carl Niehaus, we saw Supra Mahumapelo, as well as the suspended Secretary General of the ANC, Ace Magashule. Let's take a listen.
To support Comrade President of the ANC Women's League, a member of the NEC of the ANC, Comrade Bathabile. That's why I'm here, to give the necessary support.
Yeah. Just talk us through your thoughts on the case. Do you think there is a case she needs to answer to?
Well, let's see how it goes. I've just been watching it on television, and today I'm here because I had time to come and support her.
And what did Magashule tell you when you asked him about the case involving the former president, Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma, particularly that medical parole issue, which has been now thrown out of court as unlawful, that he must go back to jail?
Well, I posed it to him that there are concerns that there might be some unrest that follows, like what we saw back in July. And all he said to me, Bradan, was, well, let's see what happens. He has noted that the former president is, of course, appealing that ruling. And he said that he and the other comrades will continue to support the former president.
The former President Zuma has appealed through his lawyers. And I'm sure we should leave it there. Yeah. But we will forever support President Jacob Zuma. And I think South Africans can see what is taking place. And he will always be in our prayers. And the struggle continues.
There are concerns that this might spark unrest across the country. What are your thoughts on that?
Concerns from?
Unrest following the judgment that is saying that President Zuma should go back to jail. There are concerns from some quarters of society that this may spark unrest like we saw in July.
Well, let's see what happens because you can see South Africa today. You can see how black African people are treated like. You can see, and with time I think things will unfold. And those whose eyes are closed, their eyes will be open.
Is Magashule there speaking to reporter Slindelo Masikane.